The forest loomed ahead, an uncertain sea of towering trees, their gnarled branches swaying without regard for the harsh wind. The sun barely penetrated the thick canopy above, casting eerie shadows that danced upon the forest floor. Clara, seeking a break from her mundane life, decided to take a solitary hike into the unknown depths of these ancient woods, her thoughts filled with independence and the thrill of adventure. As she ventured deeper, the world around her felt both alive and foreboding. Birds chirped a reluctant welcome, their songs mingled with the rustle of leaves in an unseen breeze that tickled the back of her neck. Clara pulled her jacket tighter and pressed forward, a sense of unease creeping in as she noticed the silence that enveloped her like a heavy cloak. The sounds of wildlife faded, swallowed by the oppressive atmosphere. Just as she began to doubt her decision, she stumbled across a clearing. In the center stood an old wooden cabin, its windows cracked and coated in dirt, as if untouched for decades. Clara's curiosity tugged at her, whispering promises of hidden stories. Glancing around, she noticed that the forest was unnaturally still, the trees standing guard, their dark silhouettes looming ominously. Bracing herself, she approached the cabin, hand hovering over the rusted doorknob. Inside, dust motes floated in the fragile light that filtered through the grime-covered windows. Clara's heart raced as she felt the weight of history saturating the air. Cobwebs clung to every corner, and the walls seemed to whisper tales of those who might have entered before her. As she explored, she found a tattered journal lying abandoned on the rickety table. Opening it, she read the frantic scrawls of what appeared to be a previous occupant. Lines twisted and turned, her once neat handwriting devolving into erratic strokes. "They come at dusk. You cannot outrun them. Hide." Panic flared in her chest as she flipped to the last entry, which stopped mid-sentence. A chill washed over her. Outside, she noticed the light had dimmed alarmingly, shadows stretching into grotesque shapes. The sun was sinking behind the dense treetops, and an instinctive fear coiled tightly in her gut. She heard them then, soft murmurs like the rustling of leaves, but filled with a malicious intent. Clara tore herself from the journal and rushed outside, but the forest had transformed. The path she had come from had shifted, branches intertwined like deceptive fingers holding her in place. Her pulse quickened as more noises erupted from the trees. Distant shadows flitted between trunks, their shapes indistinguishable, but the presence felt sinister, a collective heartbeat of the forest. Clara ran, limbs heavy as panic engulfed her, the murmurs growing louder, echoing her own fear. "Leave, leave," they seemed to chant, or perhaps plea. The lush green trees now appeared like towering giants, blocking her escape, every branch scraping the sky like skeletal fingers. Frantically, she stumbled back to the cabin, seeking refuge within its decaying walls, praying that whatever malevolent force lurked outside would not follow her. Just as she caught her breath, the door rattled, a soft but purposeful tap that chilled her to the bone. The whispers converged around her, calling from the depths of the darkened room, a chorus of desperate voices. "Stay with us! Stay forever!" A flash of hope ignited in her heart. She would break the cycle. Remembering the journal's mention of hiding, she crawled under the floorboards, heart pounding as the door creaked open, the figures now shrouded in darkness. A shadow loomed larger, and Clara could feel the air grow heavier. She was here, one of the figures hissed, echoing the words of the forsaken journal. Clara's breath caught in her throat. This was not just a retreat, but a descent into something far darker. The figure stepped closer, and the last thing she saw before nightmares claimed her was a glimpse of their eyes, deep, empty sockets staring back at her. The forest regained its calm as dusk enveloped the cabin once more. Days later, two hikers would pass by, marvel at the abandoned structure, and find the journal on the table still open to the final entry. But Clara was never seen again. Instead, whispers would flit through the trees, beckoning another lonely soul deeper into the shadows, eager to add to its collection of the lost. The forest sighed, a deep, resonant sound that echoed through the trees, as if it mourned the loss of yet another wanderer. Clara's presence was stitched into the very fabric of its ancient roots, an echo in the wind, a lingering scent of fear that pervaded the air. It wasn't long before Clara found herself suspended in a strange void beneath the floorboards. There was an odd stillness, as though time itself had halted in this grotesque limbo. Shadows slithered around her, whispering secrets of those who had come before her. Names she did not recognize rolled off their ghostly tongues. Rebecca, Thomas, Eleanor. Each a ghost tethered to this forsaken land, their souls entwining with the forest they could not escape. Days turned into nights, though Clara was unaware of the passage of time. She shifted, trying to detach the growing sense of suffocation that enveloped her in the dampness and despair of her hiding place. The whispers seemed to thicken, drawing nearer, until they coalesced into a single, dreadful phrase. "Join us." But Clara resisted, fists clenched, refusing to succumb to their chilling invitation. Every day felt like a lifetime, her plight eclipsed by the incessant moaning of the wood above her. Until one evening, as twilight draped the forest in a shroud of inky blackness, the shadows shifted again. "Help us," they begged, the disembodied voices now filled with a tantalizing desperation. "We can be free together." Clara felt a strange pull toward their words. After all, there was strength in numbers, wasn't there? Gritting her teeth, Clara willed her heart to quiet, willing herself to believe that if she surrendered, if she became one with the swirl of lost souls, their combined energy might unveil an escape route. And with that acceptance, she felt herself slipping, dissolving between the thin membranes of reality. A searing pain shot through her limbs, as if she was being stretched across dimensions, but with it came an intoxicating sensation of freedom. The confines of her flesh began to unravel, and she felt the expanse of the forest resonate within her. In a warped blend of joy and sorrow, she realized she had transcended, becoming one with the many. The very trees of the forest rumbled in approval, their branches swaying as an invisible chorus rose in celebration. Clara was no longer a mere visitor. She was elemental, a lingering essence amidst the murmurs of the woods. In this new form, she watched through countless eyes as the cabin stood sentinel beneath the moonlight, perfect and sinister. Yet her enjoyment was short-lived. With each night that passed, the forest became an insatiable hunger. Clara observed the shadows hungering for more loss, more fear, more souls. No longer a solitary figure in peril, she now aided in the coaxing of others into the grasp of the woodland cataclysm, luring them with the promise of adventure, just as she once had. There were others now like her, lost to time, enthralled by the same hunger, by the same whispered lies. And they would wait. The hum of their voices rose and fell like the tide, ready to engulf another unsuspecting traveler, eager to pluck them from the safety of the beaten path, leading them deeper into the despair of the forest where the great spirits of the shadows danced. As dusk settled upon the cabin, its windows rattled softly, and the door creaked open, just enough to entice the next unsuspecting heart. With mouths twisted into smiles, Clara and her kin awaited the sound of familiar footsteps, the rustle of a jacket, the whisper of a name. Soon, she reveled in the thrill of the hunt once more, as the warmth of new life flickered just beyond the tree line, oblivious to the fate that awaited them in the arms of the forest. Year after year, soul after soul, each new entry into the cursed realm only deepening the malevolence of the woods, binding Clara and her spectral companions ever tighter to their eternal prison. She was home now, forever.